Hello, friends, how are you? I hope you all are doing great and you all are enjoying the lectures and you are done with the first two chapters, that is, chapter number 1, Basics of Costing, and chapter number 2, Material Costing. And I hope till the time you are watching this video, you have practiced all the questions of material costing, right? Like I told you that how you have to practice it, how you have to go about with the questions, and I hope you are done with this, right? So, now we are going to start with a new chapter, that is chapter number 3, labor costing. Chapter number 3, that is labor costing. Another important chapter, labor costing. Right? Now, when we discussed in the basics of costing, in the last, I think one topic that we discussed about the elements of cost. In that, I told you that there are three important elements without which we cannot do any business. The first one is material, second is labor. I took the example that if you want to construct a house, if you have the material but you don't have the labor, can you construct the house? No, sir. Who will construct the house for us? Right? We need the labor for that. If you have the labor, but if you don't have the material, in that case, can you construct the house? No, sir. Even in that case, we cannot construct the house, right? So these are the important elements. The first one is material that we have already discussed in the chapter number 2, right? This one is labor, what we are going to discuss in the chapter number 3. Okay. So another very important chapter, I can say, and you often expect a good question from labor costing, although in the CA intermediate new course some of the topics have been removed, right? There were incentive schemes, there were a lot of incentive schemes which have been removed from the CA intermediate new course, but still you can get a 10 marks question from labor costing easily. Clear? So this is another important chapter, and the strategy is going to remain the same, sir. What you have to do, whatever we will be covering in the lectures, you have to revise that, right? Then practice the questions from whatever we'll be doing on the YouTube, practice those questions, then practice the ICI module, then practice from our handbooks. Clear? So this is going to be the strategy for every chapter. Clear? Already lot of people have got the handbooks now, and most of them have reached them also, right? So guys, let's start with labor costing. So what is a labor cost? First we need to understand, the first thing is, what is labor cost? If we are using this term, what is labor cost, sir? Labor cost is any amount. It is any amount paid, any amount paid or payable, right? Any amount which is paid, which has been paid, right? Or it is payable in the future, that is also our cost, right? Any amount, any money which has already flown out of the pocket, right? That is a cost. Or any amount which is certain, right? Which is certain that it will flow out of our pocket in the coming future, in the next month or so, that is payable. That is also a cost for us. Any amount paid or payable, right? In cash or in kind. See, what is labor? Labor is the person who is working inside your factory, right? If he or she is working for you, right, he or she will not work free of cost, obviously, sir. Nobody is working free of cost. They want something in return. What they want something in return, sir? Salary, bonus. Obviously they will ask you, sir, Diwali bonus please give na, right? New Year, please give New Year bonus. Obviously these things happen. Nobody is going to work free of cost for you. That is one thing for sure, right? In the future, whenever you are going to do some work, nobody is going to work free of cost for you, right? If you are a businessman, you are hiring the labor, you are hiring the other person, nobody is going to work free of cost, right? You will be paying something to them. Any payment which has been paid or which is payable in the future in cash or in kind, whether you give in kind means Diwali gifts you are giving to the people, right, to the workers of your factory, that is also a labor cost, that is a cost for you, right? When you whenever you prepare your financials in the balance sheet, you will show Diwali expenses, right? Staff welfare expenses, something like this, you will show in the profit and loss account. So all this is what? All this is your labor cost, any amount which has been paid or payable, right? In cash or in kind. Even if you are paying in the kind, even if you are giving them some, gold brick. There was a case where one person, I think it was in Dubai or somewhere, he gifted the cars to his employees, he gifted gold to his employees, right? So these things happen. I think it was in India only, not in Dubai even, it was in India only somewhere. So this is what? Labor cost, right? Labor is working for you and in return you are paying to them. Now, second thing is, what all is included in the labor cost? We need to understand it. What all is included in the labor cost? So the second thing is determination. So all those having the books, no need to write anything, right? Just listen to it carefully. Keep the books ready with you, right? Determination. Second is determination of labor cost. Right? What all is included in the labor cost? So first thing is the basic pay, right? Basic pay is what have you decided at the time of giving the employment, right? I hire a person A and I say him that I'll pay you 10,000 rupees a month, right? This is your salary. This is the basic pay, right? Plus DA, that is dearness allowance. So these are the various allowances that are given that you will be studying under the income tax also, right? Income under the head salary, you will be studying the allowances plus other allowances. Plus other allowances, right? Plus any perquisites. All this in detail you'll study in the income tax, so nothing to worry about it, right? Plus any bonus, you are happy with the work, you are giving him the bonus, right? Then any commission on sales, mostly any commission, that if you bring this much of business, I'll pay you extra, I'll pay you commission on this much, right? Then another important thing is employer's contribution to provident fund, that is PF, right? Then gratuity, then pension, then you have ESI. See, what happens in this case is sometimes the employer says, right? The employer says that I will do some investment on your behalf, right? On your behalf means on the behalf of the employee. The employer is making some investment for his future, for the employee's future, right? Employer says, I will do the investment, nothing to worry about it, but I will do that investment from your salary only. Okay. That will be the part of your salary only. So this becomes my total labor cost, right? Whatever will go out of the pocket of the employer, right? This is any amount which is going out of the pocket of the employer is the labor cost, right? So this is determination of labor cost. Basic pay, DNS allowance, other allowances, perquisites, bonus, commission, plus the employer's contribution to PF. Now, if any of you have studied the income tax, then you will ask one question, sir, what about the employee's contribution to PF, gratuity, pension, ESI? The employee can also contribute, right? As per the law, the employer and employee both can contribute. So try to understand one thing. Say, combined everything, this total amount is say 10,000 rupees. Now, employer is taking this 10,000 rupees out of the office and now he is going home, right? On his way back to home, he found that there is ESI office, and he decides that he should be investing 2000 rupees here. Now the employer will not get to know whether employee is investing or not. For employer, is there anything extra going out of the employer's pocket? No, sir. Employer is paying 10,000 only. Now, after he has left the office taking this 10,000 rupees, employer is not concerned with whether he is investing 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 in the ESI, PF, gratuity or pension. Whatever is the employee's contribution, employer is not concerned with, right? For employer, the cost will remain 10,000 only, sir. Right? Whether employee is investing somewhere or not, for employer the cost will remain 10,000, right? So employee's contribution we will not be taking here. Clear? Are you getting the point? The employee's contribution is not a labor cost for the employer. Clear? So these are the elements: basic pay, DNS allowance, other allowances, perquisites, bonus, commission, and employer's contribution to PF, gratuity, pension fund, ESI, and any other thing if there is, right? So this is your total labor cost. Clear? So this is the first is what is labor cost. Second, determination of labor cost. What all is included in the labor cost we have discussed now, right? Now, if I ask you, this 10,000 rupees is paid to the employee. Very good, sir. 10,000 has been paid to the employee, right? But can you tell me the hourly rate of wages? This is the total cost. This is the total labor cost. If I ask you what is the labor cost per hour, if a worker is working for 8 hours or 10 hours, right? And if I pay him 10,000 rupees for 10 hours, what is the rate per hour? You can easily tell me, sir, right? So there is one concept of total labor hours. Total labor hours. Right? Now, what is this total labor hours? Total labor hours is total number of hours spent by worker inside the factory, right? So if a worker say enters the factory at say 9 a.m. and he leaves the factory at 6 p.m. right? So that means in total he is inside the factory for how many hours? For 9 hours, you will say, right? So this is the total hours. This is the total hours, the total number of hours spent by worker inside the factory. So if the worker enters the factory at 9 a.m. and leaves at 6 p.m., that means you will say that the total number of hours spent by the worker inside the factory is 9 hours, which becomes our total hours. Now, I'll ask you a very simple question, very logical, very simple question, sir. Is your worker working continuously for 9 hours? Right? Is your worker working continuously for 9 hours? Just imagine you are a businessman and you have a big factory, right? A number of workers are working under you. What you will observe is your worker, if he is staying from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., can he work for the 9 straight hours? Can you work for the 9 straight hours? Tell me. Sir, we are chartered accountants. Whenever there are last dates of filing, we work for even 12 hours continuously, right? Right? Some people might say this. Even we have experienced it. Yes, sir. But still, I will say one thing. Sir, if we are working for 12 hours, we'll take a small break to go to the washroom. We'll take a small break to have our lunch or dinner or breakfast. We'll have a small break to have some tea, coffee, isn't it? We'll have a small 5 minutes break in between. So can your worker who is doing some heavy work, who is doing some manufacturing work, can he work for 9 straight hours? No, sir. It is absolutely not possible for a worker to continuously work for 9 hours, and this is what we cannot expect from him. As a human being, we cannot expect from him. That's very much logical, isn't it? So what I will do is I'll break this 9 hours into 2 parts, right? One is the effective labor hours, And the second one, I will say, sir, idle time. Right? So what I have done is I have divided my total hours into two parts, that is the effective labor hours and the idle time. What is the effective labor hours? Effective labor hours is for the number of hours for which the production is being done by the laborer, by the worker. That means he is actually working here. Right? During the effective labor hours, these are your actual productive hours. That means during this productive hours, that means during these hours he is actually contributing to the production. He is actually working. He is not sitting idle, he is working. Right? These are my effective labor hours. Clear? Sir, what is idle time? What is idle time? Idle time is when there is no production. No production. Sir, just tell me one thing. If the worker is not contributing anything to the production, will you not pay him? Will you say that I am not going to pay you? Sir, it will depend upon the situation. Now, just imagine a situation if your worker is taking a half an hour break for having the lunch. Will you deduct his salary for having the lunch, for having 30 minutes break? Because he is not contributing to the production, I will deduct 30 minutes because you are having the lunch during that time. I will deduct your salary. Can you do that? Right? Sir, we are not so insensitive towards our workers. We cannot be. Clear? So what is idle time? Idle time is the time for which wages are paid. Wages are paid, but there is no production during this idle time. Clear? Now, what I will do is, now let's have some discussion on idle time, sir. Let's have a small discussion on idle time, right? Because its treatment is important in the labor costing. Let's have some discussion on idle time. I will divide this idle time into two parts. That is normal idle time. This is normal idle time. Right? And the second one is abnormal idle time. Abnormal idle time. What is the difference between this normal idle time and the abnormal idle time? See, this normal idle time is inherent in any job. Inherent in any job, right? Clear? That means, like I took the example just that your worker needs a break to have the food. Your worker needs a break to have some tea, coffee. Your worker needs a break to go to the washroom. Right? Obviously, sir, when he is having the tea or coffee or when he is having the food, he will not be producing. He will not be working on the machine. Obviously, sir. That means he is sitting idle, but we cannot deduct the salary for this time. Right? We'll pay the wages. We'll pay him the wages during this time. Right? This is the normal idle time, right? Which is inherent in any job. You can't do anything about it, sir. Right? Say the worker enters the factory. Say worker enters the factory at 9 a.m. Right? Now he will not immediately start the work at 9 a.m. He is entering the gate at 9 a.m. doesn't mean that he's starting the job at 9 a.m. He will take some time to travel from the factory gate to the production area and setting up the machine and setting up all his tools, getting ready all his tools. So this is the routine job and he's starting the production at 9:30 a.m. Right? But you will pay him the wages for this half an hour. You will pay him the wages for these 30 minutes. You can't say that I will not pay you wages for his 30 minutes because, sir, he is taking 5 minutes to, travel from factory gate to the production area. Then he's taking some time to set up his tools and everything. Isn't it? So these are the normal idle time, right? Which is inherent in any job, which is normal. He needs time to travel from gate to the production area. He needs time to have his food. He needs time to go to the washroom. He needs time to have some tea, coffee. That is normal idle time. Clear? What is abnormal idle time? Abnormal idle time is any idle time occurring due to some unforeseen situation, some unforeseen circumstances. This normal idle time, we know, sir. Everybody is knowing that this is going to happen, right? Abnormal idle time is something that we haven't imagined, right? We cannot imagine something like breakdown of machinery, like breakdown of machinery, right? Say a worker is working on a machine and the machine suddenly breaks down. Now what will happen? Is this the mistake of the worker? No, sir. Right? Now till the time the machine is repaired and back to the working condition, the worker will sit idle. But we cannot deduct the wages of the worker because this breakdown of the machinery was not the mistake of the worker. It was the mistake of the electricity department. Now you cannot ask electricity, there was a short circuit, say. Right now you say that it is the mistake of the electricity department, but you cannot ask the electricity department to pay the worker, right? Who will be you will be paying the worker, sir, right? Abnormal idle time is any idle time for which the worker has to sit idle, mean, right, because of any unforeseen circumstances that you never imagined, but it could have been avoided, like breakdown of machinery. This machinery was in use for the last 10 years but was never repaired. Obviously, sir, there is a life to every machinery, and if you do not repair it from time to time, one day, eventually, it has to break down. Right? Like your body is a machinery, you have to repair it again and again. Sometimes you have to take your medicines and all those, right? But if you do not take care of your health, if you do not take care of your machinery, what will happen, sir? One day it will break down. Isn't it? So this is abnormal idle time. It could have been avoided if you have been doing a smart work. But these are unforeseen circumstances that nobody could have imagined that this will happen. So this is another idle time. Okay. Now, important is the treatment of this normal idle time and the abnormal idle time. Sir, very simple. If you talk about the abnormal idle time, this abnormal idle time will directly impact your profits, will directly impact your profits, right? Now you cannot ask your client to pay for this thing. Can you ask your client to pay for this breakdown of machinery and this idle time? You are making the payment for this time? No, sir. You cannot recover this amount from your clients. Always remember this. This is your mistake. This is not the client's mistake, or this is not something that is to be recovered from your client, right? It will directly impact your profits. This amount, right? The amount of wages that you are paying during the abnormal idle time, this whole amount will go to costing profit and loss account, costing profit and loss account, right? See, in whole costing, just remember one thing: if there is any abnormal item, any abnormal loss or anything, right, it is going to directly impact your profits, because for any abnormal circumstances, for any abnormal reasons, if you have a loss, you cannot recover that cost from your customer, right? So that cost will directly impact your profits, and if it is impacting your profits, it will directly go to your profit and loss account, clear, as a loss. Now, sir, what about this normal idle time, sir? This is inherent in any job. What you have to do is, in this case, we'll calculate, this is to be adjusted in, these are to be adjusted in total hours. Sir, what is the meaning of this? Now, I told you one term, that is effective labor hours. That means the actual productive hours, right? What is meant by actual productive hours? So total hours minus normal idle time. Total hours minus normal idle time. Right? So this becomes my effective labor hours. That means for the effective number of hours for the actual productive hours. Total hours, he's staying in the factory for 9 hours, but out of this he's taking 1 hour for his food, for his tea, coffee, for some rest, right? For setting up the new jobs, he's taking 1 hour. So that means if 9 hours is the total time he's spending inside the factory, out of this normal idle time is 1 hour. So that means it is 8 hours. Right? So what you can say one thing, sir, if you are paying 10,000 rupees here, so this 10,000 is effectively being paid for 8 hours, right? Because the productive hours are 8. So that means the 10,000 rupees that we are paying the labor cost, it is being effectively paid for how many hours? For 8 hours and not for the 9 hours. Right? We are paying him, what we are paying him? We are paying him in return for the production that he is providing. Now during this 1 hour, we are paying him, but he is not providing any production. So effectively, what I am using is effectively we are paying him for the 8 hours of production. Right? So effectively we are paying him for 8 hours of production. That is why what we say is, one thing we say, that is effective labor cost. What is effective? What is effective labor cost? Effective labor cost means total labor cost. Total labor cost divided by effective labor hours. Effective labor hours. Right? Here this effective labor hour means total labor hours. Total labor hours minus normal idle time. Minus normal idle time. Clear? Any doubts in this thing? Right? So this is an important topic of calculation of labor cost. What is labor cost? Determination of labor cost. Then we have the total labor hours. Then we have idle time, normal idle time and abnormal idle time. Right? What can be the reasons? Everything is given in the handbooks, right? What are the various reasons for having the normal idle time? What are the various reasons for having the abnormal idle time? Everything is given in the handbooks, nothing to worry about it, right? So this is the effective labor hours. That means if I'm paying 10,000 rupees, I'm effectively paying 10,000 rupees for 8 hours, because that is the number of hours being spent for the production, right? Those are the productive hours. So I have to find out my labor cost for the productive hours, for the number of hours he is actually doing the production. Clear? So this becomes my effective labor cost. Now what we have is, we have 3-4 questions on this, right? We have these questions on labor costing, question number 1, 2, 3 and 4. We have 4 questions on this topic, right? 4 questions on this topic, sir. Yes, because after that it will be overtime that will be starting. Yes, right? So the first 4 questions we'll be doing in the next lecture. These files, sir, how can we get these files? You can get it from our mobile app, Android mobile app, that is KSJ Teaching. The link is in the video description also, or you can download it directly from the Play Store. Okay. So these questions you will get it from there, and I have told you that how you have to prepare this subject, and if you mind my words, if you go by these things, if you go in the way that I'm telling you, you are definitely going to boss this subject. You are definitely aiming for exemption in this subject easily, right? So in the next lecture, what we'll be doing is, we'll be doing some practical problems, right? Next lecture will be on the practical problems of this topic. Practical problems. Okay, so stay tuned for the next lecture, guys. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you so much.